It's time for a new evolution in raising golfers, one that doesn't involve headaches, tears, or heading down the path of unknown. Whether you're trying to introduce children to the game of golf, help them play competitively, or play at a collegiate level, you're in the right place. This show is for any parent, player, or coach who wants to build a better team at home and on the golf course. This is the Raising Golfers Podcast. Hey, what's up, everyone? I am down in sunny San Diego and might be here for good, and I'm really excited about the future of golf and what I'm also going to be doing in involvement in junior golf, and so I just can't be happier of where I'm at right now. So excited. So I hope you're all having a great week. Maybe got a chance to play a little bit of golf. And, something that I have come to realize is that raising golfers as adults has so many values, and we can help educate children in so many different ways beyond just the game. Today, Jonathan Ochoa, who is Mexican-American and currently living and coaching golf in Spain, is going to share his unique coaching methodologies with us today.
I incorporate art into the lessons. I printed out Tiger Woods' 2000 swing, and I put them in front of them, and I had them draw the position. If it was stick figure, it's fine. I didn't really care. They didn't have to be professional artists. But anyway, I had them draw the positions, and then without any instructions, I just said, okay, let's go play. And I just said, okay, remember what you learned from the drawings. All right, just remember what you learned from the drawings and try to mimic those positions and try to mimic those swings. And I could not believe the results that came out from that, because kids were doing full turns, following through, and staying in balance. And I was like, what? I had no idea that this was possible.
Jonathan has been involved in the game of golf for many years and literally lived all over the world. He hosts his own podcast about golf in Spanish and has a lot of fun while coaching junior golfers in Spain. I know he's going to share some great ideas with us and make us all rethink our educational approach to raising golfers. Well, so Jonathan, appreciate you taking the time and joining me here on the Raising Golfers podcast. So welcome.
Travis, thank you so much. As a fellow podcaster, I am honored to be in your podcast. I actually follow and have heard a couple of your interviews, and I am stoked to be here and being as an invite. I'm a little nervous. I'm usually in the other side, so I'm a little nervous.
It's not too often we're the guest, is it?
Yeah.
of podcasts. But what's cool is we kind of share a similar interest, like you said when you originally reached out to me about your podcast, and that's primary focus on junior golf. And tell us a little bit about what you're doing coaching wise, and then touch on your podcast a little bit, and then we'll refer back at the end of the episode about where people can find all the stuff about what you're doing, your podcast, and all that stuff. So cool. Give us a little quick background about yourself and where you're at.
Sure. So I live right now in northern Spain, in the Basque region, in a city called Vitoria-Gasteiz, which is about an hour away from San Sebastian or from Bilbao. And I work at a facility called Golf Hundis, and I am the trainer and golf instructor there. My niche is that I teach golf in English, because in this area of Spain, English is not spoken predominantly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they speak Spanish, but the local language is Basque, or also known as Euskera, which has nothing to do with Spanish. Mm-hmm. But there's a big demand for English speakers and native English speakers. And since I'm Mexican-American, I can speak both languages, if need be.
That's super cool. Yeah. I can imagine that junior golf in Spain's got to be growing, especially with the players that are coming out of there. At least on the professional tour, you see more and more guys on college teams that come from Spain and Mexico, right? But speaking specifically about Spain, right? So, what's the junior golf scene like there right now?
Yeah, so the Spanish Federation is the governing body here in Spain, and they do a really good job on helping grow the game, but not necessarily grow the game of grassroots and everyone included, more of elite golf and golfers that have, in general, more funds to play the game, right? So they have in Madrid, they have their the center, or they call it the Blume. And if you are an elite golfer, they send you there and you get trained by top golf instructors, both physically and technically for golf specific things. And you're able to talk to top Spanish golfers, Jose Maria Olazabal. You can talk to John Ram if he gives you enough time. So they are trying to get all their own resources and grow the game, grow the elite game that way. So
Interesting.
that's why you see a lot of top-notch Spanish golfers, both women and men as well. And right now, in every sport in general here in Spain, there's a big push to send Spanish players, soccer players, basketball players, etc., you name it, to the U.S. and study in the U.S. because they're giving big scholarships and you're able to play your sport. Here in the university system here, they don't really offer that. Some do, but not really, you know?
Mm. Interesting. Well, I mean, at least it's cool that there's some type of, funding from the government that's, trying to help these players to reach some of these opportunities that they would love to reach. And maybe if they didn't have that type of funding, they never would be able to get that opportunity. So that's quite cool, isn't it?
Yes, it's pretty cool. In the U.S., they don't really have that. The USGA or other organizations, they don't really do that as you know. So.
Right. Yeah. It's what in Spain's not exactly, but in China is a little bit similar. Like what they offer is like they have national teams and they have like
Mm,
junior national teams, and it's like you go in, you go full in for golf, let's say, and you're doing a little bit of schooling, but then you're doing golf most of the time. It's kind of like IMG in Florida a little bit, but
mm,
then it's backed by the government, and then you get these good players like Li Hao Tong and Feng Zhanshan, who was she was number one in the world at some point, but
hmm
they came out of those national team programs, and I would guess, I could be wrong, but if they didn't have that, those they would never get those opportunities to get to those levels, right? And so that sounds kind of similar to what Spain's doing, which is cool.
Exactly. It's very similar to that. What I'm trying to do here is trying to have more of the American idea of trying to offer golf to everyone, and it seems that people are interested. So we'll see where that takes me.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where probably the biggest market is trying to get to some of those people who never played the game before and get them interested and excited and have fun. And then, if they want to go that route to, play college or professional golf, like they can, but they got to be able to start somewhere, right? And it's got
Exactly.
to be a good start. So that's cool. That's great to hear that you're doing that. So, looking at, some of your experience and some of the things that we talked about just before the podcast, let's talk a little bit about training. So why is training junior golfers like so important beyond just like hitting golf balls on the range? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think hitting golf balls on the range is awesome, but the simple answer is proprioception. Just to have a better awareness of your body in space, of your moving body in space, and training your body in the gym or in different modalities will help you transfer those learnings into the range or into the golf course in itself.
So like, what would you do? Give us some examples, like some things you might do, like outside of just the driving range hitting that kind of lines up what you said there.
Okay, well, my methodology is a little bit different than most golf trainers. I like to incorporate a lot of different stuff. For example, we are setting up a rock climbing wall.
Cool.
Yeah, so and it's great to learn, your right from your left, your right hand and your left hand, and all that stuff. And I also use a lot of nature in general. As we talked before, the golf course, in my opinion, is an awesome park to go and explore in many different ways. So this one example, one of my favorite workouts that I've had this last winter, it snowed a lot, and I wanted to go outside because the pandemic and all of that stuff. So we started rolling up balls and kept pushing the balls until they grew into a giant ball. And it's a great workout for your glutes, for your legs, and pushing. But also, you start from something so small and make it into something big. So the kids, they see that they create something from nature that started so small into something really big, and they're super stoked about it. They had no idea that something like that could happen, you know. So I
That's cool.
tried
I
to,
like that. That's a
yeah,
cool idea there.
yeah.
That's great.
It was inspired by my wife and my favorite artist. My wife, we started rolling up balls, and my favorite artist is Andy Goldsworthy, who he works with natural objects like that. So I combined the idea, and that's where it came.
That's cool. So is your coaching style, would you say, like, is like a blend of, obviously there's going to be there's golf involved in it, but it's like a blend of, like, it's more than golf. So like you're blending in some type of a little bit of education, maybe a little bit of like not methodology, but like giving them like a bigger perception even on life, like you said, like just that idea and that concept of something small can grow to something big and you can create it, and like, having like those kind of background like messages. Is that what you kind of try to incorporate in a lot of your coaching?
100%. 100%. I like to have little insights or little messages within my training. And because I really try to emphasize growth mindset in my teaching. And since I do golf in English, some of the kids, they don't know any English, and I explain to them what growth mindset is, what the how your nervous system works, and I explain all about the neurons and all that stuff in Spanish, of course. And then they realize that, hey, if I work on it, that I'll be able to learn it. So the same idea I try to implement with my training, my physical training.
That's cool. I like that. So for listeners, like whether you're a parent or a coach listening, like you gave us the snowball idea. I thought that was a cool one.
Mhm.
What other things could we do? Like whether it's at home or, whether we're coaching at the golf course, what would be some other ways to help children better understand
Yeah.
this growth mindset?
Better understand the growth mindset. Well, just explaining it to them is the easiest way. There's actually several books out there that explain growth mindset, children's books. But
Really?
yeah, there's a couple children's book out there. I don't remember the names at the top of my head, but I actually use them for my son. He loves to read, so I read it to him, and we talk about learning and how learning is a process and stuff like that. But yeah, just first explain it to them. And there's one activity that I really like to do, which is just jumping. In the golf course, there's a little creek that runs through the golf course, like many golf courses do. And in some areas, the golf course, the creek is smaller than in other areas. So I first start doing little hops in controlled setting with no river, no little creek. And then I take them to the creek, and then I have them hop the creek. So now they have a little bit of challenge there, and they start to hey, to believe in themselves. I can do this. I can do this. And as they start getting stronger and believing in themselves much more, I I widen the creek a little bit more. I take them to a place where it's a little bit wider and they're able to challenge themselves if they want to. And then I say, if you don't want to, that's fine. Maybe in the future we will. Maybe, or this is what you want to do. So it's always kind of having them grow and having them realize that they're able to take these skills into other aspects of their life as well.
That's
You
cool.
know?
That's cool. I like that. That's a cool example. That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think some of those things, as far as coaching golf goes, there's so much more to coach than just the swing, isn't there? And a lot of these things children don't even get in their formal education in school. There might be bits of it, but it's not highlighted. And for you to be able to give them like these realistic like challenges or tasks where they can actually see the improvement, and it's like it doesn't have to be about hitting the golf ball 50 yards further. It's literally just about like, look, I didn't think I could actually hop over the creek, and now I can. I didn't think I could hop over the wide part of the creek, and now I can, right? And I love that. I think those lessons are so important for children. And whether you're a golf coach or not, you could be coaching soccer, basketball, baseball. You could be doing that. But I think as coaches, we get tied up too much in just like the sport itself,
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's just so much we can coach around the sport that ties into the sport and connects with the sport. But I think it's just cool that you're doing that. I think it's a very fascinating way to educate children and involve them along the way in the process. And I think for adults, coaches, and parents listening, like, start thinking about how to include that stuff into what you're doing with children. It's awesome. That's cool, man. Good for you.
100%. And it's so fun. It's so fun.
It
Yeah.
does sound
Like
fun. I'm sure they
you,
love it.
yeah. And sometimes you yourself slip into the creek or, something like that, and they start laughing. And so it's really interactive, and they have a great time, and you yourself also have a great time. So it's really the main point in my point of view.
That's cool. Yeah, I love that. That's great. So, like, getting kind of on the physical part of golf, like, I
Mhm.
know you're doing all kinds of things related to, coaching junior golfers, but like, what would you say are some of the misconceptions about physical training for children in relation to junior golf? Like that, maybe as adults, we kind of have wrong, or maybe we don't fully understand.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Here in California and the US, I don't see it as much these misconceptions because everyone over there is for the most part pretty well educated about training and nutrition and all this stuff. But here in Spain, I have gotten a couple of requests not to train a certain way with weights or with heavy objects. And of course, I'm not going to give the child or the athlete a 12 kilogram object because they're not going to be able to do it. I give them something that they're able to withstand. But they say, oh, it's going to stunt their growth. It's not good for their swing because it's going to stiffen them up. And I educate them and I say, you know what? Those are old misconceptions. They're kind of wives' tales. And I tell them it's good to work out because it strengthens the bones and the ligaments. And I give them the whole spiel, and then they start to realize that it's good for them and it's fun, and they see the benefit in the long term. You know.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's, you're constantly involving the parents in like these conversations about talking about, why that actually it's not such a dangerous thing, and really it is actually going to help with the development of the child. And of course, you're not going to exceed those